So pretty much just to like give you an overview, I've been just hitting people up in the community, like resellers, collectors, like store owners, like all different sort of people. And obviously I know you're big in reselling. So I kind of just want to get your take on all this stuff, like the market, how you resell, stuff like that. So if you could just introduce yourself, your name, if you're comfortable with that, what city you live in, and then like when did you start? Like stuff like that.
No, for sure. My name is Keegan. I run Ski Supply from New York. I started this 2 years ago, January 1st. So a little over 2 years now. Um, I started this shit working at a restaurant and picked up three pairs of shoes off my boy because I wanted to start doing something else.
Mhm.
I've always worked with used shoes. I just feel like there's more margin there, and I feel like you can just provide a better price to the client because, especially with the shoes costing more and more nowadays, like you even hit a four for retail now, it's gonna cost you almost $250. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, I really just got into it because I always like my whole life I always messed with like the designer and the shoes and all that, and then I kind of just got to the point where it was like, if everyone else is looking for this shit, why don't I just try to start supplying it? You know what I mean?
Mhm. Sure. Yeah, you mentioned like how you bought those three pairs of shoes off your friend. Can you go like more in depth on how that happened, how you like realized, okay, shoes is something I want to pursue, like maybe it is actually more profitable than like working in a restaurant.
Um, yeah, so I was always working a lot and I was doing like 60, 70, 80 hours a week and it was just like OD. And then I just like um I would just post on my story just like because I would go in my closet and I would just like see like random clothes sometimes, like nice clothes, right? And I would just throw them up on the story to make some quick cash. And they would always typically sell. It might take a couple days or they sell. So I was like, I wonder if I could do this like consistently. So I just like posted up. I was like, yo, anyone got shoes for sale on my Snapchat? And then this kid texted me, and it was one of my old friends, and he was like, "Yo, I need money for car tires." He's like, "Take the rest of my shoes. I got three pairs." And then this kid threw me an absolute bonker steal on these three pairs. Now I get these shoes in, and don't get me wrong, this is when I first started, so it took me like 3 weeks to sell them. I'm not gonna say it's fucking some easy shit. I sold them same day, but it took
Yeah.
like 3 weeks to sell them, and I no bullshit made $50 to $100 profit off every pair, and I was like, "Whoa! If I could do this on a big scale, this would be legendary, you know? 'Cause I made like $200 off these three shoes, and I was like, holy shit, like that's fucking insane. Like I spent 300 on these shoes, now I got 500,
Right.
almost a double up. And then like I just started learning about like different drops, and like I was just like into like the babe shit, and I would just like get that shit on Grailed, like literally just go on Grailed, just fucking lowballing everyone. That was the biggest thing, bro. Just lowballing everyone, going off road, going let go, all these places and just try, People hate that shit though, Nobody wants to do that. But then again, like you want to be the guy giving the good deals, so can't really do that unless you're being a dickhead that you do selling the shoes. So kinda gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned like Bape and all that. So you started originally with more designer, or was it Jordans and you kind of like switched, or how was that? What did you focus on
Um,
really at the beginning?
so really just everything. Like anything I could like my thing was like I just never tried to short myself. Like that I always saw kids sell shoes and like it was all they sold. But like I never wanted to sell like the fake shit. Like I'll never sell fake AirPods, all that shit. Like there's like crazy money and all that shit, but that's not good money in my opinion. Even if a kid's looking for fake shit, I won't sell them that shit. I'd
Right.
never do that. That's just no good to me. Um, but yeah, it was kind of just like if a kid hit me up and I was looking for shoes and he was like, "Yo, like I got five Supreme shirts, take them for $100." I'm not gonna decline that. You know what I mean? Like I gotta not work with what I got. So that was kind of the same thing. And then the Bape really just took off for me because like all these kids wanted a brand that wasn't Supreme. Because at first I just was selling Supreme, and then you bring this other brand around and it's called Bape and it's like a little more expensive, a little more classy, and all these kids are like, "Oh, I need that shit."
Right. So like obviously, so that was like a couple years ago, right? You started. So like
hmm
towards now like through COVID or part of COVID at least, what have you seen personally that was like, okay, sneaker reselling, Supreme reselling, Bape reselling is like, is that actually improving? Is it, have you made more money during COVID or end of COVID? Or like how did that whole situation work out for you?
I think it's good. I definitely think it's got its ups and downs. People say all the time about how the shit's dead, but I don't think it's really dead. I just think it's um I just think it's more. Like, you just gotta adapt to it. Like, people aren't really trying to pay, like, that top dollar anymore. Like, back in the day, bro, like, you get a dunk for fucking $90 in G sizing and sell for 220 same day. Like, now, like, people are just like, you just can't do that shit anymore, Like, there's a reason the UNC dunks fucking sit and all that shit now, and it's just because the availability that Nike lets happen, but that's also why if you watch my stories over the last year, I've just slowly started shifting into the higher end stuff because you can't you can't crush a high end market. Like, you just physically can't do it, you know? Like, if Louboutin, for example, right? If Christian Louboutin made their shoes only $200, all of a sudden their entire market is just fucked because forever their shoes have been known to cost 800 to 1,000. So they just like that's something you can't do. So if you're able to get connected with those shoes for a little less or like used pairs, like you have an instant market. That's the same thing with like the off whites and like shit like that. Because you get a pair of off white, ones like that's just gonna fly every time because people look at that more as like holding value compared to all these other shoes. Like even you look at something like a St. John Dunk or a Syracuse Dunk, like I still think it's crazy. Like all the resale shops that I used to know that had like even if they only have 5 pairs and they paid 300 each, that's fucking 1,500, and now their shits are worth 100 each. So these people
Yeah.
just lost $1,000 by holding some dunks. Like there's just like a lot to it that like I don't like that shit anymore. I hate that shit. Same thing with like the foam runners and the slides. Like bro, I
Yeah.
got so many of those. Like everyone knows I got a lot of those. I've been
Yeah, I
posting them
still
shits
need
for
a
like a
couple of
year
those.
now.
I remember that. Yeah.
Dude, yeah. So it's just like, oh fuck. I just gotta deal with all that shit because I was buying all these for like 130 a pop. Slate Gray Onyx, Azure, all that shit, all the foams. That wasn't like bad pricing to pay originally when the market was 130, 140, but now the market's like 90 on everything. So like it's kind of hard to sell an item for 150 when the market's looking at you at 90. So
Yeah. So for you,
definitely a little tough.
yeah. So for you, as your client, so how do you go about selling your products? Obviously, you have your Instagram, Snapchat, but what do you primarily focus on, or what has been the better seller platform for you?
Snapchat, Instagram, I only have it for reviews. You'll never
Okay.
really see me post on my story for that. But that's also because like I always started with Snapchat and I never made the switch over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good and bad. It's good and bad because Instagram like there's not really a cap on there. Like you can have, like you see people on Instagram with like 30,000 followers. Like, they're always getting DMs, all this extra shit. Like all you gotta do is comment on a post to get a DM from someone.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's the big problem with Snapchat is like right now, for example, I got almost like 8,400 followers on Snapchat, right? So the problem is since out of those 8,400, 5,000 people, like I added back, obviously over time. The problem is with Snapchat and like Facebook and all those like social media apps is you can only have a maximum amount of 5,000 friends. You cannot have more than that. So it makes it very tough for me because every time a person adds me, I gotta scroll down my fucking list and delete someone. So what I'll do is I'll usually go down to like the bottom of my Snapchat, like 56 weeks or more. Like if you haven't texted me one time in a year, you gotta go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how I look at it. And then the new people come in because I'll have people that they'll add me on someone else's story and they'll be like, "Yo, like my boy just got shoes. They gotta eat something." And you know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
not about to just like lose that business because I had somebody else here that was here for 3 years when they never even fucking tapped in once. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. So I'm assuming Snapchat is more for personal buyers rather than resellers. Is that right?
Yeah, the resellers, bro, you'd be like, whoa. I almost never sell to resellers, bro. That's the one thing that all the kids on Instagram be like surprised about me is because like sometimes we'll be like, yo, like you tags them, bro, but like it's really just because my prices are just set for personal people. Like if a kid walks into a shoe store, they're gonna get smacked over the head. All
Right.
right, I might just give them a tap over the head. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying, bro?
So do you pay? So for obviously used, you can kind of set your own price. You can offer what you want, but for new, since there's a set market, do you even deal with new anymore? Since it's hard to obviously the
No,
margin.
geez, I try not to. Like, dude, like those breads, for example. Like, bro, I get a brand new pair of breads first time they drop. Bro, I had the shits for over 3 weeks, posting them for less than $300. The new breads, and
Uh-huh.
it's just like that shit just ridiculous to me, bro. I ended up selling them for 300. Don't get me wrong, bought them for 260, made $40. But it's just like on a brand new release like that, you'd think they'd be in and out same day for that, and everyone just wants it. Like, oh, let me get those for 250. Let me get them for 260. Like, bro, like that's what I paid. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
New
it's just like.
markets are so bad right now.
Yeah, dude, it just makes it so hard. That's why I just much rather get the used shoes because like For example, if I pick up a fucking used pair of zebras off a kid for $100, sell it to 150 for the next guy, both of us are happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's still a good price. 150 is still a solid. It's not like it's, but
Yeah.
yeah. So for the used, do you still, is it more also high end, like off-whites, like Travis's, like that, or do you also take like you said, like zebras?
Really everything. I just don't like buying the cheap shit because when you're getting into the higher end, it's kind of hard to backtrack,
Hmm. For sure.
because you can't like, you can't start to shift your clientele one way, towards gold and then try to sell them copper, later on.
Yeah. So I've seen
So
your stories. You have like a lot, to be honest. You have like obviously you have your shoes, your clothing, but then you also like every so often I see some like random stuff like a belt or like some. I remember you had like an Xbox on it. So like, what is that? Like, what are those to you? Like, do you sell those consistently, or are those just like random things you find for a good price?
Usually random things I find for a good price. The only thing I actively try to do is the PS5s because I was absolutely going crazy with those for a little bit. I probably sold 10, 20 of them in like 2 months, and I was making at least 80 to $100 off every single one. And that's the thing. Like when you can get an item like that, you make $100 off each one. You only got to sell 10 of them to make a grand. Like that's just to me, that's insane. Like even right now, I got a PS5 sitting in my house. I got two on the way, and it's just like those are just products for me where like kids are just selling them for 250, 300, and
Yeah,
I'm getting them gone every single time for 350 to 400.
yeah. I mean, easy money right there, I guess. Yeah. So
Yeah.
for you to get shoes for the buying aspect, do people come to you or is it you going to them or how does that dynamic work and what has worked for you in the past so far?
Mm, dude, I don't even know honestly. Cause like getting shoes is the hardest part for me, bro. My hardest part is just getting the inventory in. Getting stuff out is not a big deal for me. It's really just getting it in. Like
Mhm.
I got big sellers all the time who get big bundles and just have me help them break it down for them because they can't even do it. But like I don't even like my thing is like I can't even find shoes anymore. Like I post all the time, like, oh, buying this, buying that, this is what I'm buying. Bro, realistically, when I make those big ass posts, bro, that's just so people know. I'll probably get one swipe up on those. Like they just like don't really do well and like it's also tough when I got a kid who I fucking sell to on Snapchat trying to then sell me shit. That shit is so annoying. Like if I sell a motherfucker a pair of breads for 300, some reimagined, do not then try to charge me 290 for some fucking reimagined breads. Like, bro, it's just not gonna happen. Like, and
Right.
it's just like hard to explain that to them without being like, yeah, I'm taxing you $50 at least. But like,
Yeah.
like I just can't do that, bro. Like there's no room. Like, why would I do that? And it's just like I don't know, like even things like I'll sell a kid, like I might sell a kid, like this just happened the other day. Sold a kid a pair of fucking shoes. Okay. There were some dunks back in the day. They were like some $200 dunks. Sold them for like 160 used. Now the kid wants $100 used. They only go for 100 new. I'm like, bro, I could maybe give you a 50. And he's like, whoa, bro, that's crazy. But it's just like, bro, like you just got that's what happens sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, fucking sucks, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes sense from both perspectives. So, yeah. For you, how important are these connections? Do you get like would you rather have a consistent buyer, not in like maybe say you have one buyer that buys like one shoe a month, or would you rather have 12 different buyers that take a shoe each, or sorry, or a different buyer that takes a shoe each month? Like, what do you value? New people or like consistency?
Well, I deal with both. I'll get new kids every single week tapping in for shit, and then I'll also have my regulars. Like my regulars are just easy, and I prefer the regulars over anyone because, like, for example, I'll throw the essential suits up. These dudes are already sending me the down payment, just like let me know when it's in. These other kids don't even understand the whole process of it. Like they're like, oh, like, can I get the ship right now? I'm like, yeah, bro. Like it's a pre-order. Like you got to pay 30 down. It'll come in within a week, and then it'll be shipped to you. And like people get sketch out of all that shit. I don't know why,
For sure.
but. Yeah. It's also hard sometimes convincing new dudes to fucking believe you're legit. And usually the ones that are pressing it too hard aren't even trying to buy.
Yeah. Yeah. So out of these new people that just swipe on your story, like how often, if you could give a ballpark, like how often does the sale actually go through?
Um, well, you see my stories. Probably hit the post office every single day, but I don't know. Some days are like 10 packages, some days are two, some are four. It's really tough, but I'd say that at least every single day we're selling at least 2 to 4 pairs. that's just like my minimum that I have to do to like keep up with my quota. Like to me,
Right.
if I don't make 50 to $100 in a day, I failed.
Okay. That makes sense. Um, so like as a reseller, what obviously you've had issues with getting inventory in for a solid price. Like, has there been anything else, major obstacles that you had to go through?
Um, I mean, to be totally honest, bro, really just the fucking the college for me is my biggest obstacle. Like most of these resellers, bro, live at their parents' house and they're funded by their dad. I'm not. Okay. Like everything for me is straight for me. Like, bro, I worked in the restaurants, work my ass off, and then put my money, risk that shit into shoes that I had no idea were gonna perform well. And then they did. And then now, like, that was back when I was at college, living at my parents' house, and like now I'm in college. Or that was back when I was in high school. Sorry, living at my parents' house, and now I'm in college, and like, dude, like, this is like fucking 3 hours away from my house, and then like Oswego is right on a Great Lake, so
Mhm.
that's good and bad. It means you got cool views, but you're in the windiest town you've ever been in your life, bro. This town is so fucking windy, bro. It's like the windiest town in New York. It's insane. I've never dealt with something like this in my life. So imagine trying to carry shoeboxes in the building, bro. You look like you're fucking Cinderella getting twirled around, right? So like that shit for me, bro, is no good. Like I hate that shit, bro. But like I'm
Yeah.
really just doing the college shit for my mom because she just wants me to do this shit. And like the other thing is like, like when package come in, like I got a whole thing, bro. Like when packages come into the school, it's got to go to a ship house. I can't even get it delivered to my dorms because the dorms you're not allowed to run a business. So since all the packages are for a business, I would have to pay the school a certain percentage out of my business if I let them do that. So I had to have these fucking girls off campus get my packages in, and then every time a package drops, like I'll wait like 2 3 days till they build up a little, and then I'll just take a drive over there, 10 minutes across fucking town, so inconvenient. Pick up all these things, and drive all the way back, then fucking wheel and deal these boxes across the lot, bring them 8 floors up to my room, unbox them, post them on my story, hopefully get a sale, box them up, then bring them back down all 8 floors out to my car, and then 10 minutes to the post office if I want a sale. So
Oh,
it's just
that's
like it's not easy, and so that's like when I go to the post office every single day while I'm also doing 3 4 5 6 hours of classes every single day. That's what I hate when a motherfucker tells me they can't ship till 2 days or something. And it's like, oh, bro, I'm busy. Shut your ass up, bro. You not busy. You not busy, bro. Like people, you know what I mean? Like get your buddy to do it, bro. Like, like that's the other thing with me is like I'm like such good business to the point where like when I deal with any bullshit, I hate it. I absolutely fucking hate it because I know that like, bro, there's a way around that. Like, don't lie to me right now. If this was for $10,000, you make it work. So don't do the same if it's only for 10. You know?
yeah, for sure. So obviously when you get a shoe in, you do GUA. So what is like the process on you authenticating them and how does that work? Do you like do check on all the apps or do you self-authenticate? What do you do with all that?
Honestly, bro, I would never trust my shit. So I just use the legit app. But
Okay.
like for the most part with like basic shoes, bro, like I'm not even checking. And like if they're from like, big plugs, like usually I'll just have them do it first. Like if it's like some crazy shoe, I'll just be like, yo, you got a legit check on this? And normally they do, like I bought some Grateful Deads the other day. Like, the kid already came prepared with it because he had to do it when he bought the shoe off someone else.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so at least yeah, you have a process with
Yeah.
that. You don't have to worry too
Dude,
much.
I dealt with fakes more in the beginning of me doing all this shit because people would just try to get over. But now that I kind of understand.
Hmm. Um, so like over the last couple of years, I mentioned this with COVID, but have you seen more sales over time or less sales? Or have there been specific models like Pandas, Yeezys that work the best for you, or what has happened and what have you improved on? See,
I would say it's a steady increase upwards for myself, only because I'm able to build up my platform so big. I would
Mhm.
say for a lot of other people, I mean, I'm not trying to speak for everyone, but like I've seen a lot of kids quit, I've seen a lot of kids slow down, a lot of kids had the same pairs they had 3 months ago. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know, shit just not really hitting for people anymore. And I think that's just because like the average people don't have money. Like even my big baller clients will tell me all the time they don't got the money that they used to. They're still tapping in with me. It's just they might only buy one thing instead of five every 2 weeks.
yeah,
So, like literally last night, the fucking kid was talking to me about how no one's got money for essentials anymore. Because I was like, dude, he was like, why do you always do the pre-orders now, bro? I'm like, bro, I don't even get these in. I was like, you notice how I got 5 pieces of essential at my house and they haven't even sold yet? And I'm like, bro, people just don't even have money for this shit anymore. And the kid's like, oh, I understand, bro. This shit's terrible.
yeah. So going off of that, how important, this is more of a I guess, collector question, not necessarily reselling. But how important do you think like hype is to all these shoes? Like obviously if you see a Travis Scott 2 years ago, the Frag Low is 2 grand, but then you got olive colorway, which to be honest isn't even that bad at half the price. Like what is your take on the role of hype in these shoes, and do you think that that value of hype is kind of decreasing right now?
Definitely. It's also because they're doing too much, bro. Travis Scott's about to have like 5 shoes out just this year alone. Dude used to make one a year. Now he's just making it way too available to the people. And that's what I was kind of talking about before is like Nike, like, they put out a lot of emails how they're trying to like over the last couple of years about how they're trying to combat reselling and how they're trying to make more pairs available. So by doing all this stuff, it's kind of just like fucking us. And like unless your clients are super locked in with you, it's just gonna be hard to make sales. Like,
Yeah,
for example, like these kids, like my clients, like they obviously see Yeezys on the raffle. They see the sides on the raffle. But these kids will still pay double the price and buy it through me just because I'm telling them that fuck this new Yeezy shit and stick with the old shit.
right.
That's
Yeah.
just because I have the old shit. If I had the new shit, I would be saying some other shit, right? Like you just got to make it work.
So you still have old Yeezys from like actual Kanye stuff, not the new whatever this is.
Yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying. I got all the Onyxes or like all the last summer shit where he did his last like actual run with them.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think I have two more, and then so what is the reason you don't do Instagram? Like what? I was kind of confused on that. If you could just explain that again.
Dude, it's all fucking resellers, bro.
Okay.
That is just a shark pit of low balls,
Okay.
you know? For me at least. I mean, maybe I'm tweaking, but everyone I see on Instagram is posting prices lower than on Snapchat. And Instagram, I just like when I make a post, bro, it's seen by 150 resellers and 5 personal guys. The chances that they're gonna buy a fucking used Jordan 3 off me for 10 over fucking goat, it's just
Yeah,
like it is definitely tough.
for sure. Um, this is the last question, so we can wrap it up. Obviously, your first moment was getting those three shoes from the guy after was you were as you were working. But has there been any like moment that's made you realize and like stop? Oh wow, what I'm doing, I want to keep continuing this. Screw the restaurant stuff. I want to keep making my shoe or keep selling shoes, keep making money. Like, what was that moment that like actually made you realize that?
Dude, like I said, really just busting down the big bundle deals for people. Like the other day, my buddy hits me up, right? He goes, "Yo, you got to come home for a little while." I'm like, "All right, bro, what's up?" And well, he's like, "I got this fucking rich guy out in California who wants to like get rid of his whole collection or whatever." And he's like, "You got to help me sell this shit, bro." He's like, "I'll give you some money if you help me." I was like, all right, bro. So I'm selling this dude's like Gucci socks and Gucci hat and fucking Balenciaga slip-on shoes and all this crazy shit, bro, that I'd never even seen before. Okay. I end up getting through all of it. This dude that I'm friends with is just fucking straight geeked out. He's like, bro, you sold like 7.5K out of this fucking bundle. I'm like, hell yeah. This dude just hands me 2 racks, bro. 2 racks for helping him sell the shit. See, that is just something that you just can't do, bro. I have friends that make $300 a week. That would have just taken them almost 7 weeks to make.
That's insane. 2 racks. That's wild.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's kind of like, dude, like the V-Lone shoe I just sold, bro. Like those V-Lone Air Forces, like, bro, like I scooped those for 1,500. I just sold them for 1,300 cash. A pair of Travis Scott Phantom 7.5 men's worn once, and Nike SB4 7.5 men's worn once. So you're looking at like 350 plus like six. That's
That's
like
like a grand
950
profit minimum.
plus the 1,300. So I'm at least up like 7, 8 points on that. Like, like to make $800 off one shoe, that's just like crazy, you know? Like now, like I'm able to do things that are like different. Like, like, like the other day, like a few weeks ago, we went to Cali. Like, obviously, those are big expenses, but they're not as big when you're able to like still do shit, you know?
Yeah. So for those V loans, for example, how did you end up getting those? Like, did you like see them on Instagram or Snapchat, or did some kid like actually just swipe and was like, I got some 7.5 V loans that I need to sell. You don't see that every day.
This big fucking collector that I know who has like probably like $100,000 worth of just cause figures. He
Mhm.
posted them on a story one day for 21.99, and he was like, he's like looking for some cash, willing to let my babies go. And he's like, had them since 2017, and he didn't sell them. So then I texted him the next day, and I was like, hey, bro, those shoes didn't sell. I was like, you still need money? And he's like, yeah. And this is like a guy I know. So I'm like, bro, like hook me up, bro. I've never had like a big grail like this before. And he's like, just give me 15, bro. It's pretty much what I paid. You'll be happy. I was like, all right. Gave him 15. Don't get me wrong. I posted these shits for like a month. Like no sales, bro. Because I was trying to get like, 2K 2,500.
Yeah.
And then I put them on eBay, and all of a sudden this fucking guy locks into me, and he fucking texts me on Instagram and shit. They were chopping it up, and like, he wants me to send the shoes first.
Oh
And
yeah.
then like this is cool is like one of my buddies is now friends with Sunset Sneakers. You know who that is?
Yeah, Sunset.
Yeah, 150K on Insta. So then I'm talking to this dude. I'm like, yo, dude, like, I'm not sending these shoes to you. Like, you literally reached out to me on Instagram. Like, I know you're a reseller, but it's not happening. And he's like, bro, like, you got a lot of vouchers, but like nothing crazy. I'm like, bro, I'll put you in a group chat with Sunset Sneakers and I right now, and he'll tell you I'm legit. He's like, this kid was like, no way, bro. Literally made the group chat, and Sunset Sneakers is like, yeah, it's my boy, bro. What you doing? So the kid just ran the fucking deal instantly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's the
Yeah.
other thing I feel like is having these crazy connections with like a guy like Sunset. Like that dude's worth like, like 5-10 million. You know what I mean? And he's like
Yeah.
one of the biggest creators out there. Like, so when you have a guy like that, just instantly be like, dude, yeah, like that's my guy. Like, what do you mean? Like, dude, this fucking kid went back in my DM and he was just like, whoa, bro. All right, my bad. I didn't know you were like that. I'll send the shoes for you. So like,
Yeah. I mean,
got the GUA locked in.
yeah. That's what I felt like because I had to sell some Louis Air Forces the other day, and it's only because I had these like not necessarily like Sunset, but like a couple like high end retail resellers. Just I don't know if you know them or not, but it's like Cornell Kicks, Cash Kicks, Grail Supply. I had a couple references from there, but that was really the only reason I was able to get cash up hand before I
No,
actually.
yeah.
It was, yeah, but I completely understand. Yeah, that stuff is huge. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Unless if you have anything else you want to talk about. But yeah, that's
Nah, we're
all
good. That was solid.
right. Appreciate it. Yeah, I really appreciate you doing this with me. Yeah, all right. Appreciate it.
Of course, bro. You have a good one.
All right, peace.